me pixels! We're going in! Welcome to Splitting Wires. I'm your host, Austin, and this is Jaymes, your co-host. Jaymes, what are we talking about in this episode?
We're talking about EA, we're talking about FIFA, we're talking about Madden, NHL, everything. What is wrong? Well, I guess we are talking about FIFA.
Well, I guess I'm going to need this.
Yes, you will. All right, we're going in. So, FIFA has enormous amounts of problems that are going back years. So career mode is the first thing that's been neglected, basically since 2010. It's just been going downhill since the implementation of FUT. And basically, I've had come to the realization that it's not within EA's or the FIFA companies, the FIFA video game companies, EA, interest to ever improve career mode anymore because they make money in FUT. So right now their vested interest is to increase the player base of FUT, to drive as many players that they have on that buy their game to FUT. And how do you do that? By designing flawed game systems in the other parts of the game that other people play. When they buy the game, past the point of entry, they pay $65 to the game so they can play career mode, so they can pretend to take over their team of, Manchester United and buy some players and change the team around. But what FIFA and EA want you to do, what EA wants you to do, they want you to go and play on Ultimate Team and buy those players and spend real money to compete, because you need to spend real money to really be able to compete. It's by design with these guys. And so basically they have set up a predatory game meant to... It's a symbiotic relationship based on parasitism. It's a parasite, and it's their moneymaker. In fact, I looked up an article. They said it was 40%. EA in 2016, FIFA represented 40% of their profits, and that was from Ultimate Team.
Where are they getting all that money from?
So what's shocking when you look at the numbers is they were making on 15.5 million units. They made $122 per unit or $121 per unit.
But it's $60 per game.
So that's what's mind-blowing. So that means that every one of those units, or at least on average, paid an additional $60.
That's even
in
worse.
Ultimate Team money or in microtransactions top of their point of entry of $60. They get 15.5 million units to do that, and that's what they ended up with.
But that's insane, because think about it. If it's on average, that means that there are players who spend more than $61.
Oh, yeah. Thousands of dollars. And of course, there's loads of players that don't spend a dime, right? Past the point of entry.
Yeah, because
right?
Why would you do that? But here's the thing, James.
But those players are the ones who are driven to frustration, but these faulty modes with these errors, which I'll get into later, the bugs, the meticulous loads and loads of bugs throughout the software of FIFA, except in their main game mode of FUT, which is basically the best and most cleanest and most attended to game mode. All the other games have errors that have been legacy errors that have been there for 8 years sometimes. And they haven't fixed it. But if there's a problem with Ultimate Team, the day of it gets fixed, because they get the resources to fix it. And all the money that's coming out of Ultimate Team means you got to fix Ultimate Team.
James, can you explain to me what career mode is on the game? Because I am not too sure. Because what is the difference between a normal game of FIFA, just going in a campaign mode, going like game per game until you get to a tournament? What makes career mode different?
So career mode is... I hope that we caught that on the camera. So career mode is what FIFA was originally built around. The idea that you could take over any team in the soccer footballing world, like a Wolverhampton Wolves, the Wolverhampton Wolves,
and Wolverine,
or Fulham, or Tottenham Hotspurs, or Chicago Fire, or the NYCFC, or the Boca Juniors. Any team in the world, be able to buy players from all around the world and make that team the best in the world, right?
Sounds like a fun concept.
And so you would be able to do that offline without paying money after you bought the game. And you're in the league, you're in the tournaments, and you buy guys and have fun. So at a certain point, 2010, 2013, and right between that is when Ultimate Team comes along. And basically when Ultimate Team come along, it is the death sentence for career mode. Because they're saying, oh yeah, all those things you could do in career mode, well, now you do that in Ultimate Team with our certain specifics. Like you need to have certain players from certain leagues to match up. And so you meet these certain criteria in Ultimate Team, and you'll be able to play these Ultimate Team players. So you could get like the best players from Barcelona or from Real Madrid, the best soccer teams in the world, to play together, and then you could form your Ultimate Team, just like you could do in career mode. But in this mode,
in order to really do that, you basically have to spend $150, $50, $100, $200 so you could buy packs of cards, digital cards that would be basically reduced to nothing the very next season of FIFA. The next iteration of FIFA comes out, all those hundreds of thousands of dollars that were spent in this last FIFA mean nothing. You have to buy the new packs again. You get to keep those cards for that iteration of FIFA, but when the next FIFA 19 or FIFA 20 or FIFA 21 comes along, you have to buy new packs of players for those specific iterations, so you don't get to keep the players. It's not like getting like a physical Nolan Ryan card, sweet pitcher from the MLB, and be able to basically next season a baseball comes around, I got Nolan Ryan still. Next season comes, I got Nolan Ryan still. No, it's not like that. You don't get to keep Ronaldo each season. Next season comes along, your slate is blank. And then they introduce these other things called icons, which are like famous players, legendary players who no longer play, but were famous soccer players back in the day. And so these players cost so much money to basically get, so much in-game currency coins to get, that almost you'll never get it unless you play like 300 hours. Right. Somebody did the math. So that reminds me of Battlefield 2, not Battlefield 2, but of Star Wars. Battlefront 2 and Battlefront 1.
Pay to win.
Pay to win, where you had to pay basically, either you have to put in 10,000 hours to get Darth Vader or pay like $1,000 to get lucky to get Darth Vader.
This career mode.
That's BS. All these games are founded upon these predatory practices to take away my time and money. And I want to have enough time and money to play a lot of different games and to live life and also have fun and do things like fiance, people, go to games, and besides just playing 40 games of Weekend League FIFA in order to get the best cards, in order to be able to compete in this mode. They need you to waste your life in order to be able to compete in these things, and that's not what it should be about when it comes to casual gameplay. I should be able to play a little FIFA, play a little Red Dead Redemption, play a little of these other games, but they all want to own your time, because if they don't own your time, you're not spending money in their game.
And also, listen, it's not just about money. I think it's also about time in general, because these games, game length is very important, but it really isn't, in my opinion. What matters in a game is how much content it is. But if that content
is content?
But here's the thing, let me explain before I do that. If that content is locked within some sort of time interval of how long you can get it, could that even consider content if you can't even attain it so quickly?
Well, that's a great point, because the things I was just talking about, these these legendary players, you can get some of these players if you do these SPCs where you spend either coins or you play enough games and you get packs and you get players, and you can put these players into specific things, and if you don't have a certain player to meet specific criteria of these specific things, you cash in these players and you can get the icon. But it costs like 100,000, 800,000 coins, or it costs like a boatload of money to get. So you can do that, but that's the pay to win aspect, right? So in my opinion, you should be able, in FIFA, when it comes down to it, you should be able to start off with like an icon on your team, like a basic icon. I buy this game because I used to love playing Luis Figo and Zinedine Zidane back in the old FIFAs, but now I have to pay like gadzooks of money to be able to play those players now. I should be able to pick that, like one of those guys, have that on my team, and then go from there and upgrade, and then play by their rules, I guess. But there's so much BS and so much extrapolation of taking advantage of me, the player, that I am just taking offense to these predatory business practices by EA and FIFA, that I feel it's so unfair, and all these people feel are so unfair, but yet we all still buy and pay for packs and buy the game and play it.
It sounds like Stockholm Syndrome.
We're addicted. We love the game of soccer. And this FIFA has the game of soccer locked down and owned on video games when it comes to simulations.
Wouldn't the best thing, dude, here's the thing. Are you allowed to upgrade your players?
Yes, you can over time, but the upgrades come in the form of buying different players or better players.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Or they're in-form cards, which is like the same player, but he got a boost.
Yes, that's what my question is.
But those are expensive,
the
right?
Customization, would it be a great, let's say like I like the Fire. Let's say like I'm a big fan of the Fire and I want the Fire to compete
the Chicago Fire
online. But what if I know like the Fire?
The Chicago Fire will never be able to compete in Ultimate Team.
Yes, they won't.
Ever, because the way the game is designed right now. Because basically all those players only have like 3 or 4 gold players, which means they only have 3 or 4 75 rated players. Where a lot of the best teams have like 90s and 80s. If you understand what I'm talking about with ratings.
So why not? for like player freedom and player choice, why not have all the players that are currently in the game of FIFA,
And then you could upgrade them.
and you can upgrade them all, so you can have your favorite players. Let's say I want to have Schweinsteiger
Wow.
on. Why can't I have my favorite players?
Schweinsteiger
on the
is an
team?
80 in
Have
the
my
game.
dream team. I want my dream
You have a
team,
great
but be
point.
competitive enough to
Wow.
represent my favorite players.
EA, take a leaf out of this kid's book because he's onto something. If the idea that you could take your best and favorite players and play as them is totally removed from the game because you have to those favorite players may not be the best players in the meta.
unfair.
So you're going to be at a disadvantage by playing your favorite players.
That's so
in some
unfair.
instances.
It's like playing as a low-tier character in Smash, but I want to play as
But
my
I want to
favorite
play as their
characters.
favorite character. So like if you wanted to build a
Representation
full
is
team
so
of fires,
important in games.
that's a great point. So if you did want to build a full team of Chicago Fire players, you would be at a disadvantage at the higher levels of the game playing against other players because their players would just react so much better. So you bring up a good point that what about the idea of being able to pick your favorite players and then upgrade those players over time to make them competable?
But no, EA
competitive.
has to take the route of more money.
No, they have to take the route of more money. Oh, you have to get the meta players. The meta players, which you have to pay money to get instead of putting in time and effort into the game, getting better, and improving them. It's pay to win. And that's one of the biggest problems I have with EA and with this. What are some other issues I have? When it comes down to the issues, they're never going to fix career mode because it's in their vested interest to drive these people to Ultimate Team. So basically, we're never going to get a good career mode going forward
You'll never get a fantasy team of your liking that's competitive.
inside of a regular $60 game. You have to pay outside of the $60 game to get that experience, and you have to only play. And now that you have squad battles, so you can play against AI if you want to. They have different modes, but like you said, like you just pointed out, you need to pay a gadzooks of money to be able to do that now. When you used to be able to just for the cost of the game, $60 to be able to have that fantasy experience. Now the fantasy experience is built in so flawed on purpose that you're frustrated over to the other game mode, to the Ultimate Team, because that's where the frustrations all of a sudden disappear.
Frustrations
Or the
could cause
frustrations rather
anything
become
to end.
the frustrations really become a different type of thing because at the core of this, which is going to be the last topic really here, is the bugs within FIFA in general. There's loads of bugs within career mode. The fact that the base game is built upon the idea of transferring, but yet 70% of those transfers do not work fundamentally means the game is broken on delivery, and that has been since 2010. It's unbelievable. That's 8 years. It's unacceptable. Career mode has been broken for years and years and years. Not just the mechanics I'm talking about, but when it comes down to transferring in the last 3 or 4 years, they created this new system where you have to transfer list a player, and then you go to a different screen, wasting your time, by the way, and then you have to go and talk to the team and potentially go and try and buy them. Waste of time, by the way. Just such a time soak. And now, when you go, say that you got a player that is for sale, they have a mechanic called transfer listed players, where the team's saying, we don't need this player anymore. Anybody could come in and get him. 70% of those players who are transfer listed can't be bought because of the bad code of the game. It makes no sense. You go to you transfer list them, and you go to buy them, and it says, "Oh, we don't want to be sold because we just moved here, or we don't want to move at all." I just literally got you from the for sale page, so it makes no sense. The game is broken on delivery, and then
is it on purpose?
It's on purpose. That's what I'm learning. This is all by design. All these frustrations that are not fixed on day one, like these things could have been fixed this month. In this last few days,
it could have been fixed with a few.
It could have been fixed 3 FIFAs ago. It could have been fixed 3 FIFAs ago. That's 3 years ago. The same issue that I'm having today in FIFA could have been fixed 3 FIFAs. It could have been fixed 5 FIFA goes. Another issue could have been fixed 8 FIFA goes. And that's how much little resources they're putting into career mode, and that's why it's so frustrating. And why for people who played the game of FIFA, who built the game of FIFA, the reason why FIFA is so successful and such the biggest game that it is, because we were like, hey, we like playing FIFA. Based on this original mode of career mode, it's so patently broken on delivery nowadays. You're forced to go play money and into Ultimate Team. You're forced to go into the parasitic mode. So this game is no longer good for your health. It's no longer good for you. It's ridiculous in what EA is doing to its base, and it's funny because it works. it works. You have Stockholm syndromed people who are just addicted to playing the game of soccer, who have either Football Manager, PES, Pro Evolution Soccer, or FIFA. Those are the 3 outlets to go play soccer digitally, basically. And soccer is the most popular sport in the world. That's why FIFA is making 40% of their revenue off of this game, because it's the most popular sport. They own it. It's like a monopoly that they have, and they got these addicts. It's like a drug. FIFA is one of the biggest drug dealers in the world, metaphorically speaking. Metaphorically speaking, you got to think about it, because they have these casino-like practices that are taking advantage of people.
El Chapo.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I could buy
one of them.
Yeah. Or you could just, I'm like, I could buy one more pack. I'll pack that guy. And then you never pack that guy because their odds are so weighted and disadvantaged towards you. So you've got to spend $100 to pack one good character. You could spend who you could sell for 20 or 30,000 coins, which you need 800,000 coins still just to even have anything. This game is so predatory. It's ridiculous. I'm getting on a rant here. How does EA affect you? Battlefront, they screwed that up. Star Wars?
EA, back in 2005, when they released Time Splitters, Future Perfect, that was a great game. When they released, when EA released Dead Space 1, 2, when they stopped at 3 because they didn't sold enough, screw them on that. Something happened to EA after 2010.
They switched into this predatory practice mode where they're just like, microtransactions. Let's give all these mobile games. It's a mobile game that's that's disguised as a AAA game.
They're not the worst company in the world. Well, they are. But
they are.
Also
They're not the worst company in the world. Well, they are.
No. But it's not the worst company. Yes, they are. But they are. But the thing is, they're the evilest company.
They're so evil. That's
evil.
What it is. They're evil.
And it's
They reduced the skill gap in FIFA. In every subsequent FIFA, they reduced the skill gap to the point like a pro player like this Kurt 0111 who just quit and just got banned by FIFA. There's some crazy controversy about that. He was talking the truth, just saying how much BS this FIFA game is. And the FIFA had the audacity to ban this champion from their further games because he was saying, hey, your game is crap. Can you fix these simple things? Like, you know, when I go to tackle a player and I'm successful in tackling the player, the ball still bounces to that other player's teammate and he's able to score a goal.
That
doesn't make sense.
That's not how physics work.
That doesn't make sense. If I made the correct call to tackle, I should end up with the ball going the other way. The core mechanics of the game are broken. That brings me back to the last point I was talking about, though. Is not just in career mode that the core mechanics are broken, and in seasons mode and in other modes that are very popular with regular players, but not popular with EA because it doesn't make them money.
It's all about money.
At the core base of the game, there's so many errors and so many coding issues, and it's like they have like 10, 15 coders, and they're like, you know, we make so much money off this game.
You ever heard
they don't have to do crap.
You ever heard the rumor that EA employees are lazy?
No, I haven't heard that.
They say that their codings, remember, they reuse a lot of their coding. And
they have legacy coding going back from 2010, 2004.
They barely change it, and their fellow employees make millions.
Look at Madden. Madden might have code going back to 1998.
They could still be using the same code.
I want to talk about one last thing, though. Playability of games, enterability games, skill gaps of games. So games, the best games are the ones that have, like, when you reach a certain point, they have a great skill gap.
A low floor and high ceiling.
And so FIFA has lost that. A lot of games have lost that. League of Legends lost that. Remember NHL? NHL, what was it?
You could pick up
11
NHL,
or 12 or something. There was
2012 was the best NHL.
It was. And you don't even like NHL games.
But I can pick it up and play it.
Or our dads.
That's what I like about it.
Or our friends' dads who could just hop in and play, and like immediately they're like, oh, I can know.
You get it.
But if you were good at the game, you could just wreck people too.
But even if you're brand new at it, you had a chance.
But you had a chance. That's the casualness, and these games are all right now struggling with finding the right length between casual and pro esports. FIFA as a pro esports game is broken beyond. It's not an esports. It's a joke of an esports game. League of Legends is not a joke of an esports game. It's not. It just has the core mechanics that aren't broken.
Well, it is.
There are many things that are broken in League of Legends, admittedly, just like there are broken things in FIFA. But there are far more things broken in FIFA comparatively to a game like League of Legends, right? Mm-hmm. How would you think about that? What is the viability of FIFA as a pro esports game? Coming from your standpoint, a non-FIFA player.
From my understanding of what makes if the mechanics are not broken and not exploitable, unless it's Melee, of course, then I would say it should be a good esport.
Wait, what do you mean by Melee? People don't know what
Super
Melee
Smash
is.
Bros. Melee.
Super Smash Bros. I want to clarify that for people who
They
may
don't
not
know.
know. But this is a video game channel.
But
so
what I'm trying to
they
say
should
is,
know.
if the mechanics in the main game are not broken and they're fair to replicate real life, it's an esports. What do you expect? It should be realistic.
But
as
FIFA
possible.
doesn't do that, and
But
that's
if
where
it's
we
not
have
real,
the
then
issues.
there's a problem. It's not even a fun exploit.
But that's the difference between League of Legends. If FIFA had League of Legends type mechanics, it would be so much of a better game.
You got to give
A tighter game.
You got to give yourself a blood cleaver on Schweinsteiger.
Oh!
He'd be unstoppable.
He'd bleed the other goalie dry.
If Nikovic had the boots
Nikolic.
of quick, if he had the
Nikolic.
boots of quickness,
Nicholas
he'd
with
be
the boots of
unstoppable.
quickness.
He would
Put
be
items on your FUT characters? No, that would ruin it. You can't put items on your FUT characters. They have training boosts that you could put on your characters that are temporary. So in a way they do have those. But what you're suggesting is
that
even
would be
funnier.
blood cleaver.
But what you're suggesting goes back into your idea of taking your best players and then upgrading them over time. Taking a Nikolic and having him be as competitive as
Yes,
a
that's what I
Ronaldo,
want
as
to
the
be.
best player in the game, Ronaldo, after putting in enough investment or
And then they
points,
can beat
proper
the teams.
investment and points to properly meet whatever things need to be to make that player even on Ronaldo. So I could play with my favorite player instead of having to play with Ronaldo or having to... See, that's the other thing about FIFA's Ultimate Team that is such bogus. When you go to the top, when you go to these tournaments, all these teams, all these players, the best players, they all seem to have the same players and the same team setup and the same formations, which tells you that there are all these different formations and all these different players are not viable. There is a certain meta that is attained, just like in League, but the meta is much smaller, and the best player pool is much smaller and much more reduced in FIFA because of the way that they have designed it. They need to open up the game. They need to change the way they do Ultimate Team. They really do in more ways than we are capable of thinking of this maybe in this video.
Your final thoughts, James?
I hate Ultimate Team. It means the death knell for career mode, and my prediction is career mode will never improve to the point where we want it, where we career moders who specifically do play FIFA career mode are ever going to be pleased or ever going to be content, ever going to be remotely content, because it is in EA's vested interest to never improve this game or to make it inherently flawed so much that it frustrates the player to go over to Ultimate Team or to another EA game where they can be taken in by the microtransactions and microtransaction to death. Because all these AAA games are now being released as microtransactions. And that is my big fear for Red Dead Redemption 2. But I hope to goodness that Red Dead Redemption 2 is not a mobile game. Coming in at 100 gigabytes, you got to think, and 500,000 lines of dial, you got to think it's probably not. So I'm going to leave, and plus Rockstar has a great track record of being some of the best video game makers, where EA is maybe some of the worst and most...
It is the worst. What are you saying?
And the most...
the bottom of the barrel.
They slap coats of paint on, while Rockstar totally reinvents the genre.
They reinvent the wheel.
They reinvent the
They
wheel,
strap
while
rockets
EA
on it.
straps paint on. Essentially, that's what they did with FIFA. The last FIFA was what was it, yellow or blue, or pink or something?
What happened to yellow card?
But whatever the last FIFA color was, they painted it over with blue. That's all they did. It is literally the same thing. The menus are the same. The core gameplay is very, very similar, maybe a little bit different. In fact, FIFA 19 is what FIFA 18 should have been. And that's where it seems like it's getting criminal. It's like they took a whole year off in 18. They're taking a months off with 19. They're like, we don't have to do anything. They know this. They just got to slap a new coat of paint on it and people will buy soccer games because... And the latest soccer games, because the latest soccer games are the most important soccer games to play, because the most important soccer players are on the newest, most important teams, of course. That's what's interesting about PES, which is a competitor, but is not a true competitor, because they just lack the resources of FIFA and the lack of the licenses of FIFA, but PES is edible online for PlayStation and for computers, not on Xbox. It'd be great if things were edible on Xbox, like you could add in licenses and add in leagues. That's the shot at PES. PES is like, oh, you could play as the likeness of the player. Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm sorry, folks.
I think we also want to sum it up here. Now.
Well, I said all I can. I'm getting into a whole new source of video here, essentially. But I do not like FIFA. I do not like the direction it's going. Career mode is headed for extinction. It's been artificially selected for extinction, and that's my biggest problem. Is because EA has decided, oh, this is a non-viable mode. We can't make money off of this. Ergo, it must die because Ultimate Team is the only mode. If that's the case, sell 2 games. Sell 2 games. Sell Ultimate Team and sell Career Mode. Because I will only buy Career Mode. And then I'll be done with Ultimate Team. I'll never fucking touch Ultimate Team ever fucking again if I ever had a choice.
And knowing how lazy they are, they should do that.
But that's the
optimal.
thing. This is what they know. They know if they made a Career Mode as good as people want, those players would never, ever touch Ultimate Team and would never be at risk for losing their hard-earned money to Ultimate Team. Ergo, well, their money to Ultimate Team. Ergo, EA is losing potential profits. Ergo, their investors are losing potential profits. So they have no vested interest to make Career Mode good. In fact, they have the opposite. They have the vested interest to make Career Mode as flawed and inherently problematic to the player as possible to drive the player over onto Ultimate Team. And that's the problem with EA and the parasitic practices with them, because that probably goes not just for FIFA, but for all modes and all games. Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront, Madden, NHL, NBA, all of them.
I miss the good times. I miss Time Splitters.
Oh, man. Remember NHL 04, which was an EA game? For me, it was one of my favorite NHL games. Tiger Woods 04.
That was the best Tiger Woods game ever.
The best Tiger Woods game. Those were the games to end all games.
They could not make another Tiger Woods game ever again.
And they quickly learned the mistake of those games.
They were too good.
They were too good.
They were
too good. And they can't make games that are too good anymore because they have to build it with just enough fallibility that they could. Oh, by the way, not just the Xbox One, we got the Xbox 3, the Xbox 4. You know the problems we were having the Xbox 3? The Xbox 5! And
I actually want to see that. All right,
and that's the way we're at.
All right, we're signing off right now. I am Austin.
I'm James.
Thank you very much for watching.
Another episode of Splitting Wire. Let us know what you guys think about EA's predatory practices. Do you think these are predatory? Do you have problems with it?
They are predatory.
Do you think it's the way of the future? What do you think
not the way of the future.
What do you think we have to expect from FIFAs in the future, or from EA going in the future?
They have no future.
Will EA or FIFA ever make an adjustment? Will EA Career Mode ever be good? Will it ever reach the points where, or is it, like I'm saying, selected for extinction and basically a dying mode?
It is dying.
Do you like Ultimate Team? Do you like playing Ultimate Team? What are the benefits of Ultimate Team that aren't there already in Career Mode? Because it's basically taking the idea of Career Mode and just monetizing it, in my opinion. And where do you guys stand on this idea? I guess they got to make money, but at the same time, at what cost?
You know what? That's actually the very important thing about all this. What cost?
At what
Video
cost?
Games is an art form that needs to be sold, but this is FIFA we're talking about here.
But it's also against our livelihoods because it takes our time and our money away from us.
Anyway,
so you're right. It's what cost.
Thank you very much for watching. See you later.
All right, folks. Another episode of Splitting Wire. Toss us a like if you enjoyed the conversation. Subscribe for more. We'll see you guys later.